This is section 6.2, modeling with cubic and quartic functions. So if you don't have your note guide, just take a picture or write this information down. And then I'm going to actually float over to the calculator, but please make note that my math lab does tell you specifically it wants a cubic, it wants a quartic. Okay. So we're going to go to our home button, go over to new. We don't want to save anything, and add list and spreadsheet. So we've done this before. Change A to X and B to Y, and then put in your values. Menu, statistics, stat calculations. And the first one is asking for a cubic. So you're going to go down to cubic regression, X list and Y list, and then click OK. All right. So if you look at the form, you can see down here, it's AX to the third power plus BX squared plus CX plus D. All right. So let's look at these last two. 4.4 times e to the negative 12 is 0 point, and then you would have 11 zeros, 4, 4. So essentially these two are just 0. If any of those are 0, we don't put those in. So it's negative 3x to the third power plus 7x squared. And again, we have like 4.4 e to the negative 12. And that pretty much just rounds to 0. So the ones that are like that are pretty small, that just represent 0. So we don't put the x and then the term without anything on there because, excuse me, because it's just 0. Now it does say round to 3 decimal places. If I look at that down here, it's just a bunch of zeros. So let's go to the next one. The next one was a quartic, and I am just going to start over. Same process we've been doing. Menu, statistics, stat calculations, and they want a quartic, not a quadratic. There's quadratic and there's quartic. So do not get those mixed up. All right, so that's just going to be a 1. 0.999. You see the box down there, that's going to be a 1. All right, B, that's going to be a 0. That's e to the negative 12. C, if you round to 3 decimal places, that's just going to be negative 7. All right, D is negative 3. And E, if we round to 3 decimal places, is just going to be 1. Let's go up. All right, so quartic is AX to the 4th, BX cubed, all the way down. A is 1, so it's just going to be X to the 4th. B is 0, so we don't have an X to the cube term. That just goes away. C is -7, that goes on the x squared term. D is -3, and then E is the number by itself. All right, this one wants you to find a cubic and a linear and then determine which one is a better fit. Again, both round to 3 decimal places. So let's start over. The first one they asked for is a cubic function. Right. All right, so there's A. And they want 3 decimal places. 57 minus 742. C is 2.243. D is -4.667. And just as a note, I'm going to put the R squared value. So let's go back over here and write this out. All right, cubic, the highest power is a 3. All right. So the R squared value, we've done this before, is again, just take it out to 4 decimal places. Let's go back to the calculator. They also want a linear function for this. I would just get in a cell that doesn't have anything in it and then find the regression line. And again, for linear, we always use the first one. Let's see. B is 3.629, or M rather. B is minus 9.2. The R squared is 8744. All right, so y equals 3.629x minus 9.200. That R squared value was 0.8744. Since this one's bigger, the cubic is a better fit for the data. All right, we have one more. This one's asking for a cubic and a quartic. They want you to compare those two. They want you to determine which one's a better model. So again, we're going to look at the R squared values. So let's start over. Home button, new. We don't want to save this. Number 4, list and spreadsheet. Rename A X and B Y. And then put in your X and Y values. The first one they asked for is a cubic. So let's find the cubic. All right, and they do ask for 3 decimal places again. So A is 3.556. B is -21.76. And I can't see the number after the 1, but if I'm on that box and I look at the bottom, it's 7619, so it'll be 762. C is 28.968. D, okay, right there, that's e to the negative 11. That's just going to be 0, so we're not going to put that one. And the r squared value is 9969. So cubic means the highest power is a 3. X to the third minus, next power down is x squared plus, and then there's a 0 at the end. We don't write plus 0. We just leave it off. Anything that's a 0, we just leave off. But on a side note, just on your paper somewhere, our r squared value is 9969. The second part asks for a quartic function. So I'm going to go down to a cell that's empty, or blank rather. And remember, we want quartic, not quadratic. Be careful with that. All right, so A is 0.833. B is negative 8.111. C is 33.833. D, we need to see. There's a 0 after the 5. E is just straight up 60. The r squared value is 9996. Go back. All right, so quartic is to the 4th power. That's our first one. X to the 4th. X to the 3rd. X squared. X, and then 60 on the end. I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 zeros. The r squared value is 0.9996. Of the 2 r squareds, this one's bigger, so that means the quartic is the better fit for the data. And that is it for section 6.2.